okay, I'm perfect and beautiful. You look like a model. I'm Linda Evangelista. Alright, episode 8. This is Eastside Story, a behind-the-scenes look at the making of EastSiders, the series, with me, series creator, Kit Williamson. Come along on a behind-the-scenes tour.
It's not a tour.
It's a tour! Go, get in the back of my fucking boat and I'm taking you on a jungle tour of EastSiders Season 1, Episode 8. We are back in the past. It is 6/1/2012, 6 months before the events of Episode 1. Tom finds the fucking spoons. They've just moved into a new apartment together and they are finally going to get brunch. But first, they've got a bone. The only problem is, Kathy's at the door with a bottle of champagne in her purse. So, choices. I don't know. She wants to have a bukkake. Fun fact, Constance Wu had no idea what a bukkake was when she came to set, and we spent maybe an hour parsing what a bukkake was and how it came to be as a term on set. It's definitely the most productive hour I've ever spent in my life. For those of you who don't know, bukkake is a graphic sex act that's been popularized in American pornography where a bunch of guys gather around one person, male or female, and ejaculate onto their body. This originated in feudal Japan when a woman was accused of adultery. All the men in the village would gather around her and ejaculate on her, and any place where her skin was touched by ejaculate other than her husband's was tainted, basically. We obviously have a different view of ejaculate now. So yeah, that's what a bukkake is. Constance's character, Kathy, just on the record, did not have a huge bukkake last night. She had a date with Ian, and that's sweet.
You should come to my next bukkake.
I think we're fine.
You don't want a bukkake with me?
And speaking of Ian, Kathy decides to invite him over, even though they haven't even unpacked their boxes. She's already ready to take advantage of his nice guy spirit and have him alphabetize books. We get a cute ass montage of eating pizza, moving furniture, and just generally being happy. My hope for this episode was that things had just gotten so profoundly negative in their relationships and their lives in episode 7 that I thought it would be great to see what they looked like when they were happy, because starting with episode 1, they have been in crisis. So we've only really gotten to see a glimpse of why they would stay together through this horrible experience. I really wanted this episode to feel like a dream sequence, even though it's not a dream, it's reality. It's a look into their past when they were happy together. I thought it was really important that the audience understand what they saw in each other and why they would continue on in this relationship even though everything has gone to shit. So the gang decides to go hang out on the deck and we hear the cute story of how Tom and Cal met. This I did draw a little bit from life because I met John when he was bartending a party for a show that I was in New York in 2007. Long time ago, 11 gay-ass years ago, John was bartending at the 3rd floor bar at Angus McIndoe, which was a theater district institution in New York right outside of Times Square. I was in a Broadway play with a classmate of his from North Carolina School of the Arts named Christy. Hi Christy, who introduced the two of us and basically did the best matchmaking I've ever seen. She went up to both of us individually and she said, you know, John's single and not crazy, and walked the fuck away. No follow-up question, no like hand holding, just do with this information what you will. And I was 21 and bold and had basically asymmetrical bangs that went down to my chin, and I decided that I would go and order a mojito. I didn't know how to drink, I was a child. So I go and I order a mojito and he refuses to make it because he doesn't have mint leaves, but he does sit there and talk to me until last call and the lights come up and they're taking the trash out and putting the chairs up on top of the tables. Get together 2 weeks later to go to dinner and watch the original cast of Spring Awakening on Broadway, and we had our first kiss underneath this subway sign. Not like this exact subway sign, but the 49th Street subway station going to Queens. And that's where I had my first bukkake. I was classy though, I went down into the subway station. We hear the origin story of Cal and Tom, and we see the way that they look at each other, and we also get to see the beginning of the relationship between Ian and Kathy, when it was a simpler time for them as well. Ian walks Kathy home and they make out under the lamppost where she had her prophecy about Tom fucking up his life in season 1, episode 1. Watch that lamppost, this is its second of 3 appearances in the series. We chose that lamppost in no small part because we could run power from our apartment to the street corner. Really can only get like a 50-foot stinger without attracting a lot of attention to yourself. A stinger is a kind of extension cord. There weren't a lot of permits happening in season 1, so we weren't going to be able to like take a generator out to a different street. We used the street outside of my apartment for pretty much every street that you see in the show. Finally alone in their new apartment, Cal and Tom lay together in bed and stoke themselves up for their new life together in Silver Lake. We reveal a little bit more information about kind of the darker side of their past. Specifically, Tom lets slip that he maybe has strayed on Cal before. It's a really subtle moment that I don't know if everybody picked up on, but Cal makes him promise that things are going to be different moving forward.
Just promise me, asshole.
So even in this moment of happiness and contentment, there is a little fly in the ointment. So we end the episode with a very sweet but kind of sad song from Ginny Weaver, whose voice you might recognize in season 3 of the show as part of the band The Battlefield. So stay tuned for next episode when I'll talk about the season 1 finale. Make sure you like and subscribe, and if you have any questions for me about the show, leave them in the comments below, and don't forget to click on that little link to donate to the season 4 Kickstarter campaign.